approaching, we must expect many changes following the introduction of new tax laws. Our financial advisor, Jonathan Ortiz, is on the line. He joins us now to inform us with a little bit more. Jonathan, good to have you.
Absolutely. How are you, Daren?
I'm doing good, buddy. Doing good, and all is well. Listen, let's talk about this here. The new tax laws do take effect. We heard a lot about this when it first was introduced, but I think for the first time, New Yorkers and many Americans are going to get a good understanding as to what this actually means. So let's break this down for a minute. What are the differences in this year's tax laws that many of us may not be so familiar with?
Well, first things first, there's about 600 new rule changes, which affect the filing of your taxes this year. I mean, a lot of times people, we're human. The government, believe it or not, it's human people who are managing the government. So what ends up happening with all these new rules and changes is that now they have to apply them due to the shutdown and all the different things that has been going on in the past, few months. They're not 100% up to speed. So one of the things that we need to keep in mind is that when you're filing, yesterday was the first day that IRS was accepting income tax returns. So that means that, even though you might have an expected day of, let's say, a couple of weeks or whatever, it might take much longer than that. A lot of people, as you already, the people who are listening to me may know, a lot of people were calling out. A lot of the systems that were automated, had a lot of discrepancies. They had a lot of issues that they had to figure out. And because of that, they had to, they're trying to make changes. They're going from there.
Well, let me dial back for a minute. So for most Americans, we need to understand, point blank, if you are getting a tax refund, don't expect it so quick, and also don't expect so much.
Absolutely. The federal standard deduction actually was increased, right, from $12,000 to $24,000. So that means that a lot of people are not going to be able to itemize as they used to before. Before, if you were an entrepreneur, if you were a business owner, you used to be able to, itemize certain things and go from there. But if you're filing on your own by yourself, the standard deduction is straight out $12,000. And if you're a couple filing married, filing jointly, basically, it's going up to $24,000. For many, that might be a good thing, but for some people, it won't be, especially if you're a homeowner, especially if, you have certain deductions that you have always wanted to, to put in that you're accustomed to. I tell people, right now, this year in particular, it's not a year where you shouldn't necessarily file your taxes on your own. You should get someone who has been studying what's going on, what's been happening the past year, and really knows how to apply those changes and those rules. Again, at the end of the day, all these systems are electronic, so it's just a matter of algorithms and them changing the math, behind the screens. But what if the math is wrong? What if something is off? You might end up owing much more money. Another thing is that a lot of people are expecting these huge refunds. As previous years, a lot of people, oh yes, you get the earned income tax credit for your children, you get this, you get the other. You will still receive those, but it might not be the same as years prior because for those who are working, for those who have been, getting an income last year, you probably saw a bump in your pay, in your weekly pay or biweekly pay. So what ended up happening was that your tax brackets were changed. Many of us paid much lower taxes last year than we did in prior years. So that means that your tax refund, which is money, again, tax refunds is not free money. It's not money that the government is giving you. It's money that you earn. It's money that you overpaid the government. They're basically giving you back, right? So since you paid less of it, you're going to get less of it back. So, again, one of the things you could do right now, going forward, especially because there's certain parts of the act that are going to start happening this year, I would say really, really look into your W-4 forms. Make sure you're not, underpaying. If anything, pay a little bit more so that next year in 2020, you do not have a deficit or, anything that you owe the government back.
And I want to go back to what you said. Because there were so many tax laws changed, approximately 600 rules changes that actually took place in the tax law that was passed in Congress in 2017 in their congressional gathering, 600 laws. For you as a tax preparer, for you as a person that's dealing with finances, how much of this is like, I got to really wrap my head around it? It takes a minute to really wrap your head around this stuff.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, changing the rules. I mean, changing the rules is always it's always something that we need to work on and learning. It's discipline. You know what I mean? It's studying a lot, especially because the same way that all of these changes happen, we're concerned that once this presidency is it's over, what if they change back? What if they revert? So we're learning a lot of information that might be obsolete in a couple of years. Depending on how the economy goes, depending on how the tax situation goes in America. So yeah, so we have to be. I'll say one thing for those who are professionals in the field. We need to be continuously training. We need to be continuously with our eyes open and looking for all of the all the possible professional development we can, so that we could give our clients the best information possible that's available in the market.
Yeah, well, and the major thing I think for most of our Bronx heads out there who are watching and getting the opportunity to see it, those people in Manhattan who are watching, listen, if you've got your taxes and you did them before by yourself, we advise it's probably not the best year for you to go out there and do it by yourself, given the fact that you've got these 600 tax laws. Go get yourself a tax preparer. And Jonathan, I want to give you the final word on this. Some people say with these 600 tax laws, I might not be able to afford it, a tax preparer. But we do know that there's a lot of places out there that have free tax preparation.
Oh, absolutely. Right now, there's many organizations, not-for-profits, that are giving out free tax preparation. They started this week, giving them. You could call it 311. You could also go online to the New York City Department of Consumer Affairs and see what options you have available. They also have a free self-help where you could do them on your own, and they basically guide you. Guide you with. So I would say try it out. And if it's for you, do it, and you could do it on your own. But again, if you are gonna do it, if you want to do it with someone for free, contact 311 or go online to the New York City Department of Consumer Affairs website and look for tax help. And there's plenty of good resources there that will be free and will be helpful.
Jonathan, valuable tips, valuable advice. Good to talk to you. Hopefully we'll have you back next week in the studio.
Absolutely. So thank you very much, Daren. Thank you, guys.
All right, Jonathan Ortiz, our guest here, giving us some financial tips and advice. Taking a quick break. We've got more open coming up right afterwards. We're going to talk politics. Michael Benjamin will talk about the government shutdown now being over. What does it all mean? Or is it really over?